We have made our way down to the San Antonio, Texas area to the VP Racing Fuels blending facility here, and I got to tell you something. This thing is huge, and Brad Horton, you're one of the elder statesmen of the group here around here, and you've been doing it a long, long time. You got a lot going on here. Tell me about it.
Okay, well, I've been here for 24 years, and I've done a little bit of everything around this facility, and we get raw product in via rail, tank truck, ISO containers, drums, and from there it goes into the lab. They check it to make sure the quality's right before we offload it. After it's offloaded, it goes into dedicated tanks that you see behind me here, and then depending on the blend, whatever we're doing, Daryl will put it in blend tanks, circulate it, let it die. Then we pull samples out of that, and those samples go into the lab. Whenever it gets to the lab, our chemist will check it, make sure it's right, doesn't need any adjustments or anything. Then at that point, it is either loaded back onto rail car to be shipped out, tanker truck, drummed, 5-gallon cans, and we ship it all over the world after that.
What's up with the mad scientist these days?
Well, Steve, he's got him a race car. He's racing the World Challenge. He's racing 8 events this year, I believe, and he's still heavily active out here. He's busy with VP doing new stuff all the time. He's works with our chemists constantly, so he is very busy.
Brad, thank you very much, folks. We're going to take you a tour of this facility. If you hang with us, we're going to go all around this joint and show you some really, really cool stuff. Dwayne Manazzi is the chief chemist here at VP Racing Fuels, and you learned under the best, the mad scientist Steve Burns, and gosh, I don't think you could ever find anyone better in the business than him to learn from.
I would say he's a very good teacher. I've learned most of everything I know about fuels, racing fuels in particular, ever since 1992 from him, and he's really fun to work with, and I learn a lot.
They gave you the moniker Mad Scientist a long time ago for a lot of reasons, and now you're called Mad Scientist Apprentice. But to follow yourselves and put yourselves in the shoes of such a genius in this game has to be, well, I'd call it maybe stressful from time to time.
Well, there is a lot of stress, you know, when you're pressed for time for a lot of projects that you're working on. But really, it's more fun than stressful, and that's because we like to think out of the box. We don't say we can't do anything. Basically, we like to try anything we think that may make a difference, and sometimes we find that it does, and that's where we become successful, is by pushing the limits of everything.
Is there ever a point where you draw the line on the volume of blends that you try to make? Is there anywhere where you say, we can only get to this thing, or is there never a plateau there?
We always strive to make it better and better and better, and if you had to put a ceiling on something, it would probably be cost. I mean, there is a point where you can make something so good, but nobody can afford it. So what good is that? Yeah. We actually blend pure components to make a custom blend. If you say, for example, street gas, you usually have a distillation cut, and you modify that distillation cut to make the lowest cost fuel that will work for, street vehicle engines. What we do is we start with pure chemicals and make a blend that will give the best performance. Then, if we have, depending on the market, some of them can't afford the really pure chemicals, so we have to find other ways to try to get as much power as we can, bang for the buck. But no, we go kind of the opposite way. We don't start with a cut and add pure chemicals to it to modify it. We start with pure chemicals and try to work from there to make the fuel work as we need.
So yours is all basically, at the end of the day, comes down to being a total blending process, using your stuff that you create in this building right here.
Yes, we custom blend every fuel that we make. If it's in the fuel, it's there for a reason.
I tell you what, there are a lot of cool things that I'm learning already. But when you're formulating a racing fuel, whether it's 112 or 116. I mean, I can remember the day when the 116 came out and everybody instantly picked up a tenth of a second. I mean, how do you find that starting point on something like that? I know you're not going to say everything, but just give me some rough ideas.
Well, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the ability to test the fuel that you blend, we couldn't make something better. A lot of the credit goes to these test houses that we get to help us develop fuel. knowing the chemistry basically is my part, trying to work with the theoretical aspects of the chemicals. We can do that all on computer, blend it in the lab, and also run some basic tests like octane, gravity, read vapor pressure. But in reality, how it works in the engine is what's important. And so we have to have an engine that we're making the fuel for to find out, does it really work for that engine, or does it work for a different kind of engine? And so we have to have actual feedback from an engine that we're developing for in order to tell if it's going to be better or not.
So with power adders or without power adders, it all comes down to air and fuel combustion, and the combination of air and fuel makes horsepower, right? So if you can combust that, and I'm hoping I'm using the right terms here, that's part of what your responsibility is making those things all work in conjunction together.
Yes, there are different kind of chemicals you can put in a fuel that have different energies. And you are right, it takes air and fuel, but the fuel must be in a vapor state, not a liquid state. Right. So the better you can make it go into a vapor state, the easier it can go into vapor state, the better the fuel can be, but you have a limit to that, because if you have too many vapors, that can cause problems as well.
Wow. I'll tell you what, man, there are a lot of crazy things, a lot of cool things about this operation that go far deeper than you will ever dream in your mind. It's far different than we would see when we're buying those 5-gallon pails of VP Racing Fuels, when we're buying the 55-gallon drums, when we watch the semi-trailers get unloaded at the national events or whatever the case might be. I can't thank you enough. I appreciate your time, and we'll continue to make our way throughout the plant here throughout the course of the day with a lot more. Stick with us. Well, there's one beautiful lady here in the warehouse that takes care of just the 5-gallon orders in this beautiful, sprawling, huge warehouse. Her name is Rebecca. Rebecca, I don't have a clue how you could ever dream of keeping up here. There are more 5-gallon pails or buckets, whatever you call them, cans, than I've ever seen before. How do you do it?
Just repetitive. Do it every day. Set them up, fill them up, strap them, put them away. Make sure I have enough stock in for the orders.
When you get orders that are multitudes of orders, I should say multiple blends, a 12 or a 16 or an M1 or whatever the case may be, how do you keep track of all that? Is it all about the order sheets and such?
Well, I don't fill the orders specifically. I make sure I have all the inventory, plenty of inventory in stock, so when they do get the orders, they have it to pull from the inventory, the stock.
Okay, I got you. So I got to ask you a question. As I look down through here, I see some cans with nothing on them. Then I walk down through here, and I see that these are already labeled. Any specific reason for that?
It's because we're setting them up right now. They're making me the fuel. They're going to bring a tanker over. It's got about 7,000 to 8,000 gallons worth of fuel. So right now we're setting up the cans so that when they bring me my fuel, we can start pumping them in there.
So your specific job here doesn't have anything to do with the 55-gallon drums. You don't put any fuel in over here. And I don't mean this in a wrongful way, but you're the 5-gallon can lady.
I am the 5-gallon can lady.
I think that is very cool. And I've got to tell you something. In this day and age, with the laws the way they are and this, that, and the other, that we are finding, I would think anyway, I'm just, again, thinking from out of the box here, probably less drums going out as we are 5-gallon drums. I'm guessing we're seeing a lot more 5-gallon pails going out.
I feel like they are going out because I have to keep those in stock constantly.
I want to say one more thing. I don't know who's involved with the designing of these things, but VP's always had a very, very, very flashy red, white, and blue product line, and these things, the new design is really cool.
Yeah, I like it.
So we talked earlier about the multiple types of orders, and this is a great example of one right here. About everything you could have on there is on there.
Right. So what they do is they pull from my inventory to fill the orders. They take whatever they need, each fuel that they need, and they put it on the pallets, and then now the order's ready to go.
So we've got, what all we got on this thing altogether?
C14, SEF 94, starting line resin, and T4.
Wow. 5 product lines right there, just on this pallet alone. Going to some lucky customer, I don't know where, but somewhere in this country, or maybe even overseas. I don't know about that, but it's awful cool. Hey, thanks for having us, and thanks for spending a few minutes with us here today.
Anytime.
Very cool. The can lady, man, look at this place, Jimmy. They're everywhere. How cool is that? Well, VP Race Fuels is no different than any other big corporation when it comes to shipping and receiving. And Veronica Martinez is in charge of things here. And not only are you guys the national headquarters here, but you also are regional headquarters, and you distribute to your warehouses. And tell me who all else.
We distribute to end users, racers, retail centers, C-stores now, and just anybody that wants to race, pretty much.
Right. We talk about, okay, there's a VP Midwest, there's a VP East. This is the Southeast headquarters, just one on the West Coast, I assume.
There's one on the West Coast and then VP South.
VP South. And that would be, I would guess, in Florida?
Actually, VP South is in Georgia.
Okay, cool. So when you get an order in here, what's the protocol, if you will, of kind of start to finish here?
Well, when we receive an order, we enter it into the system. We have our wonderful warehouse guys pull it together, make sure that they have it all ready to go, palletize it, and then we get the carriers and get it ready to go, ship it out.
So the label making, the invoicing and all that stuff, is that this area here then?
Yes. We do all the invoicing. We create the labels for the drums so that everything is properly labeled. And the guys put it together on the pallets with address labels as well to make sure that they go to the right customer. And then we ship it out from here.
With all the different varieties of things, including everything from, the small engine fuels to the X16, which is the kind of the off-brand, the Sportsman type brand, to the C16, but all the different varieties. Does it ever get confusing to you guys at all? I guess it's all kind of numbers, really, at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, there is. But for the most part, I guess it's only mostly when there's a new fuel, which is pretty often because we're always looking for something better. Right. But you kind of just, it's second nature already. Sure. We know our fuels.
Very nice. I'll tell you what, a very nice lady, a very nice operation. Again, I like to call it the brains, if you will, or let's call it shipping central, whatever you want to call it. But you always got to have a great group of folks in this part of the deal, because, listen, you ever send out a pallet load of something and there's a few pieces wrong, the end user might sometimes get a little bit upset. And I would say, based on what I'm seeing here, probably doesn't happen very often. We have reached downtown headquarters here of VP Race Fuels and caught up with Alan Cerwick, the president of the company. And Alan, first of all, thanks for having us. We've had a great visit over at the plant earlier throughout the course of the day. And what's your tell me your role here at VP?
Well, I'm basically the president and bought the company about 6-7 months ago.
Really? So you got it from the mad scientist. You finally got the mad scientist come off of it then? Yeah,
Steve Burns is really the founder of the company, is really who the mad scientist depicts, and some have translated that to me.
I could probably see a little bit of that. I've known Steve for a good number of years because, frankly, I've ran the product, used the product a lot as a race car driver many years. But what do you see the thing going? I know that you have experience in the regular fuel industries and some C-stores and such. Tell me about it.
Yeah, my background is major oil companies. I've been with different companies like Koch Industries and then Valero most recently, Intel VP, and experience with the C-store side of the equation. And so what we're doing here is I saw the opportunity of VP as a brand that can't be replicated. Right. But it was very niche, and so we can take the basics of performance and quality and that niche quality that it has and make it more of a consumer brand.
Exactly. And when you say C-stores, it's, maybe not so easy at times for those folks at home, but we're really talking about convenience stores that have gas stations and the other things involved, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've got several different channels here. One is the C-store business, and that was the original effort that was behind the strategy, given my background. But then we've branched into things like consumer products and so forth. And my view is that when somebody's driving down the street, they see VP. When they're watching TV or watching a race or whatever, they see VP. If they walk into their Home Depot or so forth, they see VP. If they walk into their auto parts store, they see VP. And basically, we surround them.
Yeah. We throughout the course of our visit earlier, and throughout the product line that I know has changed dramatically, quite a bit since you've been here. To, I guess, even with the small engine fuel and those type things that have come along. Those are the type things that are more for the common person that wasn't involved with the racing cars and such.
Yeah, just because you don't race doesn't mean you're into high performance, and that's the gap that we're trying to fill as much as anything. We're still fundamentally a racing company, and we continue to roll out new fuels. We got several new things coming out, but we're bridging that gap into the performance enthusiast, if you would.
Listen, I thank you for your time and a great operation. And again, I've been a VP user for well over 20 years, and I know for a fact that you guys are always making power. Thank you.
Thank you. We're glad to be a part of your organization.
Yeah, by the way, yeah, thank you, Bob, on behalf of the PDRA. I'm sorry about that, but thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. One of our great suppliers and the president of this great racing organization, I should say fuel organization, VP Race Fuels. We love the fact that Alan had a chance to take a few minutes. As he said, he's busy. He's all over the place, man. He's wanting to get some C stores out there and continue making that great product.